Have you been keeping track at all of like how many doors you've been knocking, how many appointments you've actually set, how many inspections you've completed, at all any of that stuff at all?
No, I have not
Okay.
started doing that yet.
Okay. So one thing I'd like to encourage you to do is start doing that. Like keep track so that you can go, oh, okay. So last week I completed 5 inspections and I signed 3 of those. Or maybe you notice that you only signed 1 or 2 of those and you're like, shit, that's not a very good closing ratio. What's going on there? And then you can also look at how many doors you've knocked. And let's say that you knocked, 60 doors for the week, and but you only lined up 3 appointments. It's like there's a lot of margin for improvement there. And so that's how we start to dial things in, because a lot of salesmen just go out there and they're like, I'm just going to sell as much as I can. But you know what happens when you go to the gym and you get on the treadmill and you go, I'm just going to run for as long as I can? What usually ends up happening?
You give out about halfway through, or come up with some excuse
Yeah,
to stop running.
you're like, well, this is as much as I can do today, right? But if you say, I'm going to run 3 miles, then you don't stop until you run 3 miles. And then typically you're like, I might as well do another mile. So if you're an overachiever like me, okay? So
Right.
we want to kind of do the same thing, because a lot of salesmen just go out there and they're just like playing the sweat equity game. Well, if I just work more, I'll make more. Okay, but you could also go, if I'm just turning in, let's say, let's say 5 deals a month, but it's taking me as long as it takes most people to turn in 2 jobs a month to get those 5, where can we improve my process? Does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely.
I want you to be able to, instead of knock 60 doors to get 3 appointments, knock 30 doors to get 3 appointments. If you want to sign 2 deals, I'd like to show you how to do 3 appointments to get 2 deals signed instead of 5, right?
Hell yeah.
Less work, more money. And that's the thing is like, when I was selling, I remember my second year especially, God, I wasn't really working that hard. I did 1.25 million in 8 months, but I was legitimately like, probably after the first month or two I kicked ass. I went out, I knocked doors every day, I hustled just to kind of get my momentum, fill my pipeline. But then I got really good at referrals, so I didn't barely have to knock at all for the rest of the year. I'd knock a couple houses around my appointments, and that'd be it. I would literally probably do only 3 or 4 hours of work a day, 4 days a week, like very, very relaxed. But it didn't really matter, because every time I shot, I scored. I shoot, I score. Great, I can go home. And then I was maxing out my supplements really aggressively. So each of my commissions was double or triple what most people were making per job. So it allowed me to really reduce the amount of work that I was putting out, but beat everybody's ass with my results, right? And so whether you want to be an overachiever or you just want to make the money that you need to make, but work as little as possible, having laser sharp sales skills is the key to that. You're kind of in a position that I was, because back when Trent and I were selling, we looked online to see if we could find some kind of training, because we were doing really well too. In our first 4 months we did 650, so that was pretty damn good. I mean, had we sold for an entire year, that would have been over 2 million. But we were like, well, we're doing really well, but we don't know shit. Like, what if we actually were trained? And I'm like, so we started looking for things. Of course, at that time there wasn't really very many options for training, but I totally feel you there. It's like, well, haven't been trained, I'm doing pretty well. What if I actually had a recipe? I might be blowing everybody out of the water. You might surprise yourself, right?
Exactly.